notes. I don't think I actually need my notes. Let's take our Bibles and go to 2 Timothy chapter 2. 2 Timothy chapter 2. We will be done by 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, right? I've been having this idea go through my brain for a while. I'm going to just say it's from the Lord, because I think it is. And it's just straight from 2 Timothy chapter 2, and it's from kind of a description of what a Christian life is. And I think this lists it very well. And as we read it, we'll read a few verses and we'll look at them. 2 Timothy chapter 2, and we'll start reading in verse 1. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus. And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. The husbandman that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruits. Consider what I say, and the Lord give thee understanding in all things. So verses 3, 2, 3, I think it's 3, 4, and 5, and 6, pretty clearly lays out three different categories. Pictures. These are all pictures of what a Christian is. Applications for the minister, Brother Timothy. And, what are they? I mean, in verse 3, it says, Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. You hear testimonies of men that go through battle. Not every soldier does go through battle. Some people don't want to celebrate Veterans Day or Memorial Day because they never went into battle, and so they don't feel like they earned that right. So not every soldier goes in the battle. Christians do. Every Christian goes in the battle with the devil and with your flesh. Let's just start there. With your flesh every day. It's a battle. And we always, anytime you step out of your house or anytime you turn your TV on or anytime you look at your phone, what are you battling? You're battling the world. And the devil, who knows what he does, but he's there too, taking swings at you. So it's hard, endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of his life may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. So the first category is the soldier. And I was thinking about, the second category, of course, is in the next verse. If a man also strive for masteries, what does that remind you of? If a man strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. What does that remind you of? And the athletes and competitions, right? So we read, we'll glance over it, but we read 1 Corinthians chapter 9, and that talks about the man who runs the race, and he's crowned. He wins the competition. So this would be the athlete or the runner. I think it'd be good to just call him a runner more than just an athlete. Because that's what Jesus Christ identifies it as, and I'll get into the more specific reason in just a minute. And then the third category is down in verse 6, the husbandman. Husbands are men, right? They just go together. A husband is a man. I mean, put them together, that's what it is, husbandman. The husbandman that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruits. So the husbandman is the man who works in the field and is a farmer. And these are the categories. This is pretty much a full description of what the Christian life is. And I like to think of things, I like to hear preaching, I like to read books, and then I like to sit back and think and meditate and ponder and consider. And then I'll go read more, study more, pray more, and then I'll sit back and I'll stop and think and ponder and consider. I mean, that's a hard thing to do in this world, is to stop, think, ponder, and consider. But I came across this thought of what's kind of the main characteristics of these three peoples, and there'll be more. And this is more just an introduction, and I want to do some more bigger, deeper studies throughout the scriptures that lead into these topics, because I think it would be helpful for us individually and as a church. But I don't know much about soldiering. What I know is strictly from books and interviews and podcasts, and I don't know, total, I've maybe gone through 100 of those various things, including, the podcasts are really easy to go through. The ones I listen to are like 4, 5, and 6 hours long. They sit at a table for 4, 5, and 6 hours, and I know a guy who'll interview, he used to be able to interview World War II vets and Korea vets and Vietnam vets, and I like those. I like listening to those old interviews. But that's pretty much my only exposure to, besides being in a war zone myself, but I didn't do any fighting. I was, different things going on. So I've learned that, you remember we witnessed to that Marine, Brother Gordy, we witnessed to that Marine in Rose City there, and he said, I don't even know, well, he said he tried to cast down the church, cast mud at the church. Like, church is full of problems. I don't even know why people even go. And we kind of fired back at him and said, well, what's the most important thing to the Marine? And he hadn't been a Marine for 70 years, 50, 60 years. And his response, he came right back, he says, the most important thing to the Marine is the team. It's like, that's the church. The church is the team. And if you want to think about it, there's not very many soldiers that go off fighting alone. And if you go off fighting alone and you're in a war zone, your lifespan's not going to be that long. If you go off fighting alone, sorry. You don't have backup. You don't have a brother at arms watching your back. A lot of people understand the first law of combat, somebody termed it that, is cover and move. How do you cover and move? Well, you got 2 guys minimum. One guy covers while one guy moves. And then that guy covers while the other guy moves. And the more you have covering, the safer you are. And in a kind of a bigger scheme is you got the ground units that are moving, and they're covering for each other. Well, then you have sniper overwatch, and they're covering for them. And when this sniper overwatch has to move, there's a secondary sniper overwatch that's covering for them. And then you have reinforcements, QRFs, that you can call in, and they're covering for them. And then you got your radio men that, you don't ever go by yourself. And if you go by yourself, you're going to get yourself killed. That's the soldier. Now, individual soldiers can do tremendous things, but you don't really read of individual soldiers because they're just fighting for their own things. A soldier's fight for a state or a country or a cause. They're part of a bigger team. And the individuals, they can be something, and it certainly takes individual hardness and toughness and discipline to be able to get to be a good soldier. But an individual good soldier is not as strong as 10 well-trained soldiers. And we don't have any superstars here in our church? Great. Let's have 20 well-unified soldiers in a team that we can work together and recover each other and go forward. That's the soldiers. And just glance at this. Let me look at this here in Ephesians chapter 6, for example. Ephesians chapter 6. Notice, we've read this passage often, but notice the plurality of it. So Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11, we'll start in verse 10, sorry. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. When I'm speaking in Russian or Ukrainian, if there's a command like that to be strong, you can express that in a singular way that you're only speaking to one person, or you can express that in a multiple way, as if you're speaking to many people, or to one person with respect. And English doesn't really have that. we have our own things, but that's what this is doing, is it's expressing it to multiple people. And you'll see it in the context here. Finally, my brethren, plural, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye. Okay, that's Old English. What is ye, singular or plural? It's plural. Remember John chapter 3 when Jesus was speaking to Nicodemus and he said, I say unto thee, singular, except ye be born again, you cannot see the kingdom of God, plural. Thee is singular, ye is plural. So that ye, plural, may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of the darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you, now what's that one? See, that one's a tricky one, because that one could be either singular or plural, except in the King James Bible, it's almost exclusively plural. That's why that's one of the small minor reasons why we still stick with the King James Bible, is because thee is singular, you is plural. Okay, that's a small thing, but you, plural. That you, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye, plural, may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all to stand. 15, your feet shod with preparation of God's peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. So, he's writing to a church to corporately, as a body, equip themselves with the armor so that we can stand shoulder to shoulder, side by side, and fight off the world, and fight off the devil and the rulers of the darkness of this world. One man standing alone, he can be well trained, he can be well equipped, and he can be a stud, as they call him, but he's nothing without a team. To me, that is the identifying mark of a soldier. And that fits very well into the idea of the church. The church being soldiers. We are together as a body, serving the Lord, stronger together than separate. Let's go back to 2 Timothy 2. No man, therefore, so he's speaking individually here. Because for all of us corporately to make up a strong body, the individuals have to do their part. Okay, and that kind of leads into the next part, verse 5. If a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. So let's go take over to 1 Corinthians chapter 9 quickly. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. And verse 24. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth, there it is, for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, not so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection. So here's the key. This is running. Not too long ago, I think I gave a testimony about this in Sunday school hour, which I realize probably most of you are busy with other Sunday school classes, so you don't hear that. But the Sunday school hour, I gave a testimony of a book that I had read about a young lady who's the top of the top. I mean, she's number one in 400-yard hurdles, and she's getting there. This year she wants to get the best record in 400-yard. Or the 400-meter sprint, no hurdles. So she obtains the world record. She has the world record on 400-meter hurdles. Every time she goes out, she breaks her own record. I mean, she just keeps dropping that time. She's the best of the best. Now listen, she got saved not too many years ago. And when they put a microphone up to her lips, she says, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And but I listened to her testimony, and it's phenomenal. If you want to ask me about it later, I'll tell you what it is, and you can get it. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me was when you're running, how is that different from being a soldier? You do have a team. You have a support group and all that, and you have training. But the key mark, the key trait of being a good runner versus not is when you step on the track, there's nobody holding your arms, and there's no QRFs, and there's nobody watching your back. Your time is totally 100% dependent upon your own self at that time. And all of these professional athletes, I don't want to say athletes, runners, because on a basketball team you have team members, right? Football team you got team members. Baseball you got team members. But on a runner's track, which is the example that God gives us, it's an individual. And say you have, how many do they have on the track? I don't remember. 9? 8? 8 lanes. They have 8 individuals that are all cream of the crop, stars. That's why they're there. That's why they go to the Olympics. That's why they're at the national level, international level. You have 8 people that have all done all the training, done all the correct eating. They're all there. They put all the time and effort into it. And yet a lot of times it's going to be one that marks out ahead. And in their own words, they will tell you that the person that gets ahead is the person that's not willing to listen to their own body's barriers, and they're going to push through it no matter what the cost. In their own words, if you aren't willing to pay the price, you won't get the gold. So that is individual discipline. And to me, that's the main mark of the runner, is individual, personal, unmitigated, daily, constant, consistent discipline in all things. Now that's a high standard I just said right there. And none of us want to do that. But that's why we're not racing on the track either. But we are. We are racing on a track. We run in a race, so run that ye may obtain. Jesus is happy when you are putting a disciplined effort into running your life so that you can obtain the prize at the judgment day. Now, I got 2 minutes for this third one. 2 Peter chapter 2. And that's the gardener, the husbandman. And if you've been saved for any amount of time or know the scriptures at all, you can immediately see the connections to the ground, the growth, the plants, the harvesting. And the husbandman would be about, so like the soldiers was about teamwork, working together. The runner was about personal discipline. Well, this one's about fruit. This one's about fruit. And the field's the world. And the husbandman is about going out into the field and laboring. Now, the key thing to notice is that you don't get fruit but like once a year. And you have to labor almost all year. I mean, there's seasons for it. But if you want a good garden, and we all know who has the best garden in this church. I mean, we're not even arguing about it. We all know who it is. She doesn't get that by just waking up in the morning and saying, it'll take care of itself. How do we win souls? How do you get fruit? Not the same exact way. Daily labor. I've been praying for people, and I get up in the morning, and it's like, I don't really feel like praying for this person. I just prayed for him yesterday and the day before and the day before. It's like, why am I praying for him again? Because if I don't daily go out in the garden, then that fruit won't grow. Let's see. God, thank you for this evening, and thank you for the time we got together with this church, Lord, and we sure do